Welcome to Chair to Face Wrestling Podcast, the only wrestling podcast where the smack talk is real, the facts are semi-verified, and the only thing more fake than the fights is El Grande Americano's tan. I'm your host, the undisputed champion of yelling at my television screen during Monday Night Raw, and joining me is the visionary of the heel turn. So let's body slam into this week's drama because there's so much drama.
The
So
visionary. I like it. I like
grab
it.
grab a chair. No chair shots though. Get comfy because we got some stuff to talk about. Let's get into it. So last episode we did a new segment just to kind of break the ice, to speak and get us ready for our podcast. And that's right, listeners. We are back with a suplex, stupid. This is where you ask your burning questions. You need to know questions, no matter how stupid they are or how they may seem to you. We're going to answer them. So
No such thing as a stupid question in wrestling.
there's no such thing as
No
a
such
stupid
thing.
question with wrestling. So Lone Wolf 0619 asked, who do you think has a better creative team, AEW or WWE? I haven't really watched AEW too much. Um, I did take the time the other night to go in and watch a lot of Tony Storm's stuff. Timeless Tony Storm. I absolutely love her, by the way. Um, WWE, the past couple years, their creative has been pretty spot on. So I don't know. I feel like
Well,
it's a toss of the coin there.
look, here's the deal. When it comes to, I mean, you're going on paper. It's not even. I mean, Triple H. You kidding me? I mean, and look, and I've watched AEW. I've got nothing against it. I think there's room for competition. I think AEW is a good product. It's not that, okay? But it's Triple H and then there's everyone else. Like I just he's been in the business 35 years. I mean, look what he's done. Look what he did in his career. Look what he's done since he hung the boots up. He brought Shawn in for NXT, Bruce Pritchard, Nick Khan. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I mean, it's WWE. But I also think a lot of it is the talent because you can have the creative team. If you don't have the talent, the creative team means very little. Okay. And look, AEW's got its talent. That's not it. MJF, Will Ospreay, Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryan, Edge and Christian, whatever they're going by now. Okay. Tony Storm, as you mentioned, they've got there's talent there, but there's so much more depth in WWE. They're a bigger company. They're more widespread. There's NXT, which is like the entry level. So there are more pathways into WWE. So I just think, I mean, if I had to pick one, it would be WWE. But there's more extenuating circumstances than just who has the better creative team. But Triple H is just, I mean, that's a Triple H and Shawn Michaels being the heads of creative. That's a joke. I mean, it doesn't even matter at that point.
I don't think any of us imagined that most of D-Generation X was going to be running the entire ship, you know?
Oh, never would have dreamed it.
Never thought the guys that did all of this would be just running the whole shebang.
It's
So,
awesome.
another question is Joe from Louisiana asks, does anyone actually believe that those flimsy ass trash cans actually hurt? So,
Ah,
can attest to it. The flimsy ass trash cans do hurt when you're fighting with neighborhood kids and someone decides, oh, well, let's get a trash can. Let's make this spicy. And you get like speared into the trash can or you throw it at somebody, it actually does hurt.
I'll put it this way. There is no word that I dislike, because hate is a strong word. There's no word that I dislike more when it comes to wrestling than the word fake. There's a great interview on Inside the Ropes with Chris Jericho, who I love. We were just talking about AEW. Chris Jericho is he's amazing. But his two least favorite words in all of wrestling are fake and botch. Because to him, there's no such thing. What is a botch? I mean, yeah, you make a mistake in the ring, but it's live. They're doing this one take, live. Whatever happens, happens. What is a botch? Fake, for me, is a lot more insulting. My comment would be you go take a suplex. Forget the chair shots. Forget the trash can lids. Forget going through a table. Go take a suplex.
Or a Braun breaker spear at 25 miles per hour.
Go take a spear.
Every time he spears somebody, I want to vomit.
Go take one of Brock Lesnar's German suplexes where he throws you across the ring. Tell me how fake it is then. Okay? The trash cans and the chairs are aluminum. Okay? Let's get the elephant out there, okay? They're aluminum. That's why they bend so easy. Last time I checked, aluminum is metal. So the chair shots, the trash can shots, you can't fake that. There's no way to fake that. Yeah, I've never taken one myself, obviously, but I would guess that you probably feel it the next day. Um, just a guess, but after watching several hundred interviews about this kind of stuff, everybody says the same thing. Yeah, it's not fake. The shit hurts. So, you know, that would be my reply.
I mean, I would guess that it hurts, and we're not in the business of getting attacked by other individuals or thrown through tables or
Thank goodness, because I
thrown
wouldn't.
through. I would probably vomit every time I got like I could imagine taking a riptide from Rhea Ripley or getting sat on by Nia Jax, how much all of that would hurt. And it's a no from me, dog.
Yeah, I would if I were in a ring and Brock Lesnar were to get in that ring, I would vomit right then and there. Like before he even touched me, I would vomit, throw the white flag out, and say, I'm done. And probably pee my pants and do everything else. You know, it's not fake, man. It's not fake.
I'd be like, look, dude, let me just,
Yeah, Brock,
good match,
sorry,
ring the
brother.
bell. We're done here.
Whatever I did, I apologize.
It's like, I'm sorry that I pissed in your Wheaties this morning, but
Sorry I looked at you the wrong way, Brock.
I'm sorry that I smiled at you and said hello. So remember, go drop your burning questions like an elbow to the chest, and we will answer them on the next episode. So now we're going to rock and roll into it. So I'm going to cover Raw. First on Raw, Seth Rollins came out in what looks like a coat that you would make for someone's grandmother's couch.
I love him. Have I ever mentioned that I love him? He is the best, man. Like, and I promise I'm gonna be quick, but he is so good. I just he is so cringy and so hateable. Like you look at this guy and you're like, I just want to freaking punch him in the face.
And he
You
came
know,
out with Braun Breaker now added to the equation. He
that's what makes him so good. He wants you to want to punch him in the face.
came out
Like
with
that's what
Paul
he's after.
Heyman.
It's
Paul,
great, dude. I love it. I love
I'm
stuff.
look, this is gonna be pretty interesting to see. So now you have Paul Heyman in the mix. They're all in tote with each other. He drops a promo about being what's best for business. He always drops that what's best for business. The revolutionary, the visionary, the architect, the best for the
The
business.
plan B.
The plan B, the this runs through my blood is what Seth always says. So of course Sami Zayn came out, which, Sami Zayn is one of the best of the best of the
Love him.
best.
Absolutely love him.
So he came out, of course, called out Seth Rollins, telling him that he's selfish and that the business is not just about you, Seth. You're not the forefront of this business. You're not the only one that has anything to do with this business. We all, as a collective, are the future of this business. So now Seth is, wants Sami to choose. Either you basically kneel to me, the architect, the visionary, or you go against me and bad things happen to you. It gave me very much a Nexus vibe of
Mm.
you're either Nexus or you're against us. And it's either you're with this faction of Paul Heyman, our dog Braun Breaker, and Seth
Hard
frickin'
dog.
Rollins, or our dog, we are going to sick on you,
Right.
and he's gonna, demolish
It,
you.
the Nexus was good. My thought was like the authority. Like it reminded me of like when Triple H and Stephanie were running roughshod and Randy was the champion, and then they brought in Seth and Kane, and like like either you're gonna be with us and you're gonna help our cause, or you're done and you're gonna have to find a way out of this mess. Yeah, the next I like that. That's good.
So, yeah, stay tuned for more
Man.
happening with this. Wasn't too bad of a promo to start off Monday Night
Oh, no,
Raw.
I thought it was good.
Definitely set it up for the rest of the night.
Mhm.
And then, of course, recap Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez had a match against each other. It did end in a disqualification. Take off from it, the fight started off, in my opinion, kind of slow. You had a few sets between the two ladies. I could tell was kind of just like warm up to get used to each other in the ring. I could
Right.
be wrong, but that's what I see, and I'm
Agreed.
gonna call it how I call it. Roxanne Perez, she's known as the Prodigy. She definitely for sure has some kind of future in this business. I do see with just her move sets in the rings how good she is already at a young age. Especially with Royal Rumble, if I remember correctly, she did really
Yeah,
good in the Royal
yeah,
Rumble.
she did.
She kicked a lot of butt, and I was really impressed with that.
She's
And then,
good. She's good, especially for her size. She's very
right,
undersized. Um,
she's a tiny little thing, but
yeah,
she packs a
but
punch.
she does a lot with it. She's really, really good in the ring. I like watching her matches.
I do enjoy watching her matches. And then, of course, Jordan Grace had come out. She
Yeah.
took a knee blow to Rhea, prompted the end of the match with a disqualification. And of course, Roxanne and Jordan had to fight up on Rhea because, the one or the other can't fight Rhea on their own. And lo and behold, here comes Io Sky.
Mhm.
She comes out and she goes ham on these two ladies, but they run away from Io and Rhea as they should. And then they take a minute and they kind of look at each other in the ring.
How good is Io Sky, man? She's pretty great. She's really come a long, long way. It's impressive.
I She has always been an impressive wrestler.
Always. Yeah, for sure.
I love so with Io, I I'm a short person. I am 5'3". Okay, that may not be short to people, but that is short to me. When you're 30 years old and you still have to climb into your washer to get clothes and jump up on the counters to get things, you're short. So seeing wrestlers like Io Sky and Roxanne Perez and Zelina Vega, you see these tiny little women dominating it, it kind of gives you a little hope that you can
Well,
also dominate things.
and the one to go, if you're going to make that connection, I feel like we'd be remiss to omit Rey Mysterio. I mean, yes, there were others, but Rey he is to thank for a huge chunk of this, even on the women's side. Like there is room for undersized, height wise. You don't have to be 6'5" and 250 pounds to have a successful career. Just ask freaking Rey Mysterio.
That part, that part. I do love Io Sky, not just for who she is as an individual, but just what she brings to the table athleticism wise.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She is on top of her game right now. Rhea is kind of in her prime, not saying it in a mean way, but she's definitely a seasoned vet for the most part in this business. She's been doing it long enough, and now Io's kind of taking it in, and I think Io's finally getting on over in the World Wrestling Entertainment business.
For sure.
And I'm loving what I'm seeing with Io Sky.
Yeah, me too. I
So
love it.
I can't wait to see what happens next between all four of these ladies, and I really hope that there's some kind of tag camaraderie. Again, say these words 50 times fast, people, okay? It's hard to talk. Anyway, as we move along down the wrestling journey, tag teams. So the War Raiders and Judgment Day had their little fight in the ring, and of course the New Day, aka the Boo Day, were sitting on the side doing commentary with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. I do love when the New Day gets on a mic. They're hilarious.
Yeah, they are.
They're trying to be these big bad heels, but you can't help but laugh how they are on a mic.
Yeah, they have, it's a big fall from grace. The New Day used to come out and throw pancakes into the audience and try to get everybody to eat bootios and all this stuff, and now they're coming out trying to be heels. And look, the New Day, it's Hall of Fame tag team, man. They're great. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head like a month ago with the whole Judgment Day implosion thing.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. JD
Yeah.
McDonagh returned last week
Mm,
or 2 weeks ago. He
it's a
finally
big
came back. I man, can I just I'm going to take a moment to shout out for JD McDonagh. The man fought in a match where he punctured a lung and broke
yeah,
ribs,
yeah.
finished the set and finished the match. And
That's
he's been out since the beginning of the year. And he came back and he just looked phenomenal in that ring. He was jumping ropes, doing moonsaults, doing just God and everything to these
punctured
big old
lung and he was out for
boys
6 months. That is insanity.
and comes
Like,
back.
that's insanity
And your
to come
first
back that quick and then look that good. To your point, to look that good in your first, I mean, that's just he's just a natural, man. He's a natural. In the ring, he's just a natural.
And you can tell how he hits the sets, how natural it is. But I mean, again, I have called it.
You did.
I'm see there has been tension for a couple months here, ladies and gentlemen, with the
Finn
Judgment
and
Day, and Finn and Dom are doing this.
mm,
They're not all together collectively,
nope.
which I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna get on a quick little soapbox here.
Yes, you're becoming more and more like me every week. Do it.
So. I appreciate the Judgment Day for what the Judgment Day was created back in 2022. Edge had created the Judgment Day, had recruited Rhea Ripley to build up her career because she was just coming in and she was a long blonde haired woman with no tattoos yet. Then she gets with Edge and this is who she
Hard to
is.
believe, man. God, it's
Dom
so hard to believe.
Dominic Mysterio, I'm gonna be honest, did not look good in that ring and was not good on that microphone. He was a young little punk kid coming into the business with his father's name,
Mm.
and I'm using that lightly because I know that his dad is the one that trained him along with his family.
Oh
I
yeah.
know that.
Oh, yeah.
But you take this little kid who don't know much in this business, and now look where Dominic Mysterio is at.
Yeah.
And then you get Damian Priest and you get Finn Balor. I have loved seeing this Judgment Day, but I'm looking forward to the downfall because now you have all these great wrestlers. You have Dominic, you have Carlito's been a great wrestler. Okay, look, Carlito was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid. I
Super
loved
underrated.
I loved that he would spit the apple into everybody's faces.
Super
Also,
underrated.
disclaimer, do not do that at school. You will get detention. Um, and then you have Liv Morgan, you have Raquel Rodriguez. My brain kind of shorts out sometimes. Just follow me here, people, okay? You have some great men and women in this faction. I'm looking forward to the downfall of Judgment Day because I'm ready to see these guys disband and do phenomenal in their single careers.
Yeah, no,
Katie McDonough's one of them.
yeah, no, 100%. That JD has, to me, bare minimum Intercontinental United States champion written all over him. Okay. Finn, everybody forgets
That is
about
a
the fact
world
that
champion.
Finn, not just a world champion, Finn Balor was the first universal champion. Okay. People forget that Finn Balor is like 2017-ish in that area. Finn Balor was, and I'm going to use an AEW reference here. Finn Balor was what Will Ospreay is today. Like the wrestler that everyone wanted to wrestle because he's so good at wrestling in the ring. That was Finn Balor. And since the whole Judgment Day thing, he's taken kind of a backseat role, and that's fine. He again, creative, build others up. That's what the business is all about. Okay. But you do get the sense, to your point, that it is time for an implosion. It's time for a big match. It's time for Finn to get pissed off. It's time for something to happen because you know in the end it's going to be Finn and Dominic because of the two strongest personalities outside of Liv Morgan, but Liv Morgan's a female. She can't wrestle the males. Finn and Dom are the two strongest personalities. And now that IC title for Dom has given him an ego boost. And so he's going to end up saying the wrong thing to Finn. And Finn is going to go, "Oh, really, you little shit? Let me remind you of who I am." And I'd be willing to bet you in a big prime time premium live event match, we're going to get a Finn Dominic match, and Finn's going to bring back the demon. And it's going to be a face turn. And there's that. That's my long term prediction on that.
What about a SummerSlam? Calling it now.
Amen.
SummerSlam.
Amen.
But the match was great. Of course, the War Raiders won, and I love the War
Love
Raiders.
them.
I
Love them.
I appreciate the bigger guys who can do those moves. I can't remember the guy's name. He jumped onto the rope and he did a moonsault off
Oh,
this
Eric.
rope.
Yeah,
Yes,
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah, it's Eric. Yeah.
That guy is so
Yeah. Oh,
huge.
he's they're on they're both incredible athletes.
And then, of course, they knock out the New Day, which I thought was
Yeah.
hilarious. Just the je ne sais quoi, the icing on top of the cake that is professional wrestling for
Gotta
me.
like the War
Great.
Raiders, man. They're great.
War Raiders. They're great. And on to the journey. So, Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Becky Lynch. I
I love her.
I am
I
a
love her so much.
look, I am a Becky girl. I love Becky. She's a great athlete. She's again one of the tiny women who can pack a punch. Seth Rollins has gone on record saying that his wife has bony elbows and they hurt. So imagine taking an elbow by Becky Lynch.
Can you imagine, just real quick, how cool it must be to say that your dad is Seth Rollins and your mom is Becky Lynch? How cool is that?
That's got to be so
It's
cool.
so awesome. Anyway, go on.
So, of course, you guessed it. Becky took out Bailey. There is some stuff coming out. Chris Van Vliet's podcast. If no one has listened to it, you're living under a rock, and I suggest you get out from under that rock and go listen to Chris Van Vliet's podcast. Bailey was removed from the card for WrestleMania. I think she's about a year left into her contract with WWE. And of course, she's kind of taken the back seat, which I'll get onto Bailey's stuff at some point in time, maybe tonight, because it's part of this. You know what? No, I'm already on the soapbox about Bailey, so we're just gonna keep going. Just gonna keep going. I think it's unfair that Bailey doesn't get utilized as much as she should, and she's quite deserving of it. She is, of course, one of the four horsewomen. You had Charlotte, you had Becky, you had Bailey, and you had Mercedes. Mercedes, right? She's
Mercedes
now
Monet, Sasha
Mercedes
Banks.
Sasha Banks, the four horsewomen of NXT. You have Becky and Charlotte, who are so put over and
Hall of
so
Famers.
utilized. And Bailey, who great on the mic, great in the ring, phenomenal athlete. She doesn't say anything to creative. She doesn't do anything wrong.
Just does her job.
She does her job, which she loves, and she goes home. And I don't think it's fair that she's not getting the push that she so right deserves. And that's my soapbox.
Bailey needs you are right in the sense that she is overshadowed by Becky and Charlotte. Um, is it fair? Probably not, because Bailey is very, very good, very talented, very good all around performer. But she is due for a title run. I've been saying that for a couple of years now. That I get the feeling that Bailey is maybe taking too much of a backseat. I mean, she she started that that group. What was the group called?
Damage control.
Damage Control with Io and all that. I mean, look, eh, I I'm with you. I feel like there's more for Bailey, but it is tough because the women's division is so deep now. And I would make the argument, and I would just ask for people to I know that there's this four horsewomen thing. To me, you cannot have a list. What are the four horsewomen? It's basically a Mount Rushmore. Okay. To me, you cannot have a Mount Rushmore of women's wrestlers of the last 10 years without Rhea Ripley. You can't. And I know that she came later and she's not one of the four horsewomen. Dude, I would take whatever you want to call her, Mercedes Monet, Sasha Banks. I would take her and drop her for Rhea Ripley in an instant. And that may ruffle some feathers. That's okay. I'm
I
fine
feel
with
the
that.
same
But
way.
I agree with the Bailey thing. I just think in the current environment, it's very difficult for because I feel like Bailey has always kind of been viewed as the fourth option of the four. And I feel like maybe that's followed her. I'm not saying that's fair. It's not. But because of how big Charlotte got, how big Becky is. Sasha, I can't call her Mercedes Monet.
She's
Mercedes is
Sasha
doing her
Banks.
right. She's doing her thing in AEW. She's like a double champion, whatever. Okay. But Bailey has always felt like that fourth option. Whether that's fair or not, I don't know. But I do feel that Bailey needs to solidify herself amongst that group, she needs another world title run. And I just don't know that she's going to get it. It's tough, but I just don't know if she's going to get it or not.
Well, again, Becky took her out, so who knows?
Now, Becky is, listen, I'm very, very partial to Becky Lynch.
Look, I'm gonna be real. I was not impressed by the mic work on that Monday night between her and Lyra. I wasn't impressed. I actually wasn't.
I,
Bucky
I do
actually,
think, I do think Becky sometimes goes a little astray on the microphone. I've been critical of her in the past. I felt like she got a lot better when she developed the man character and she like just bullied these guys. Like I remember the promo she cut on Cena.
oh yeah, that was
That was epic. Like so she's I agree. I just Lyra, I love her. I know this is to build her, right? That's what they do, but she's in the ring with a goat, man. I'm getting sort of a Tiffany Stratton Charlotte Flair vibe.
yeah. And that's kind of how I
From
was
it.
feeling watching it. I do love Lyra. She is definitely
Me too.
growing as a WWE superstar. I think the mic skills definitely need a little bit of work. Because I could tell she kind of looked a little nervous on that mic with Becky, just a little
Yeah.
bit. Which again, look, we're not professionals here, okay? You'll never see me cut a promo with
Oh
any
no.
kind of
No.
wrestler who gets paid to do that because I'm gonna look like a total freaking
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah. Couldn't even try. Couldn't even attempt to try. There's
I
no way.
can't even talk on this podcast
Yeah.
without slurring my words and looking like I'm stroking out every 5 minutes. So there you go. My wrestling dreams did not happen for a reason. And you know what? Thank you, God, for that, but at least I can do this. Man, Monday Night Raw was great. And to sum it all up, got two more things on the Raw bracket, and then we'll get into SmackDown. Pat McAfee is going to fight the Ring Generals. Pat's my
Oh God.
Pat is my boy though. Like
Oh no 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 no. Listen,
that is my
I love
dude.
McAfee.
I would go into battle for Pat McAfee.
I love McAfee. I, I'm a sports freak. Okay, and you know this, but I loved McAfee when he was in the NFL. He was charismatic and he was a punter. Nobody appreciates the punters. They always go overlooked and underappreciated. You couldn't ignore McAfee because when McAfee made a good punt, he would celebrate it. And that's what you remembered. Like, dude, you see Pat McAfee? He is so great for the WWE. He's a natural. He's a natural on the microphone. Some of the stuff he says and the interactions between him and Michael Cole are great. I but this one's going to be a little tough to pass, isn't it?
Yeah, he
I
does have
mean,
his ring set up on his on the Pat McAfee show. So he's probably knocking elbows with his castmates just to prepare for it.
not that he can't, not that he's not athletic. That's not
Right.
it.
But he's fighting the
But
ring general.
Gunther is that's a different animal, dude. Like that is a different. You get the sense that there's something brewing. I haven't put my finger on it yet. I am still of the mindset, and I said this on the last show. I am still of the mindset that we have not seen the last of Gunther and Jay. I think it may be on hold for however long. I do not think we've seen the last of it. But yeah, McAfee and Gunther. Okay.
I'm Look,
Interesting.
I'm living for it. I would again, go into battle for Pat McAfee. I will put on a helmet and go into war for that man. Um,
I
if
wish
Pat
him the best of luck.
if
He's gonna
Pat
need
needs
it.
some
Yeah,
muscles,
yeah,
I got you, homie. It's just not against Gunther though.
yeah.
Um,
That's tough sledding there.
but still, I'm not gonna tap out Gunther. Mic drop. I'm just gonna go to sleep and
Yeah.
it's fine because I always need a nap. So I won't tap out. How do you like them apples? Now I'm scared. What if Gunther comes and chokes me out?
You better be careful. Never
It's
know
like
who's watching.
it's like saying Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice three
Hmm.
times.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's all right. I lived a good life. So the end of Raw left us on kind of a little oh shit moment. So of course, Seth Rollins wanted his answer by the end of Raw, and here comes the visionary down the ring in his grandma couch jacket, which is thousands upon thousands of dollars. So not buying that anytime soon for the winter.
Love that guy.
I do love that guy. He is great. He has great fashion sometimes too. So I mean, he probably shops in his wife's closet.
Guy dresses like Elton John.
He
It's
does.
hilarious.
Look, I
It's
love Elton
great.
John. So
Oh, me too. He's a legend. I love him to death.
that man is amazing.
Yes, he is.
Anyway, back to the wrestling thing. I'll come to Elton John at some point in life. Back to the wrestling thing. He comes out, he's like, Sammy, it's the end of the night. I gave you till the end of the night. What's your answer? I want you to answer me, and I want you to understand that if you don't follow me, bad things are going to happen to you, my friend, and I cannot promise your safety. And Sammy, being who he is, the charismatic man who will put his body on the line for the company, says, I love you, Seth. Our kids play together. We have a great friendship outside of this ring, but understand I cannot follow you like this. It basically goes against everything that Sammy stands for. He's like, I'm not doing it. I don't know because you're not the sole person in this industry that everything rides on. It's not about you, Seth. It is about everybody. And Seth's like, all right, call in the big dog. And here comes Braun Breaker. And they have a match, which, I mean, again, I talk about Braun, I think, a lot on here. The man is a scientific experiment,
Unreal.
an unreal athlete.
Unreal.
The Frankensteiner
Yeah.
gives me nightmares. Anytime he spears somebody, I literally want to vomit, pass out, and pee my pants all in one.
Yeah, his spear, just a quick note on that, because I got asked about this by a friend of ours. His spear, I would put second all time to Goldberg.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'd rather Goldberg spear over Braun Breaker spear because
But Goldberg to me always had the greatest spear. But I'll tell you what, this Braun Breaker is giving him a run for his money, man. Like,
and I can't not hate the guy. He's a
hell
Steiner.
no. Hell no,
Like
you can't beat him.
his heel is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can't not go anytime
Yeah.
anytime he comes onto the screen and then he spears somebody and you're like,
Loved his dad, Rick. Loved his uncle, Scott, Big
Big
Papa
Papa
Pump,
Pump.
the Big Bad Booty
Yeah,
Daddy, whatever you want to call him. He has a lot of nicknames.
that's Big Papa
Freak
Pump.
Freakzilla,
Oh yeah, the Freakzilla.
Freakzilla. Yeah, Big Papa Pump. Yeah, he's awesome. Love the Steiners, man.
So
Yeah,
of
the
course
Frankensteiner.
Sammy is left in the ring, demolished,
Mm-hmm.
humiliated. Probably not really humiliated. He knew what he was doing. He was like, "All right, well, I guess I'm going to take one for the team, everybody. Here we
Yeah.
go." But the boy got speared so many times that I'm sure he felt it the next morning.
Oh God, yeah.
And I am kind of at a standstill as to what is going to happen next with
You are?
this. With this,
You are? Because I'm not.
I'm seeing things in the wrestling community because I follow a lot of wrestling things that there's these little Easter eggs. I think they're conspiracy theories though, but I mean I could be wrong. That there are different wrestlers all wearing yellow and black and that there could be you know, a little group, so to speak, of
Mhm.
men and
Faction
women,
of sorts. Mhm.
faction of sorts, a nexus or an authority. Something is
I can
brewing.
I can tell you what's going to happen next in this whole shindig. And I don't know if it's going to happen next week. I don't know if it's going to be in a month. I don't know when it's going to happen. But I can tell you, Roman Reigns,
Are we getting the Second City Saint?
you watch what I tell you because now it's Seth running amok, Sami, Sami Uso, okay? Roman Reigns. You watch what I tell you. He is going to get involved in this. I don't know when, but there's the Heyman thing, CM Punk now, and it's all going to intertwine. Okay. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right, because I'm kind of seeing it. Well,
Going to happen.
the last Monday night we were left with Roman and Seth in the ring with each other by themselves, and they're kind of looking at each other, and
Mhm.
you see that the wheels turning in their head and that understanding of we have to do something because we can't keep doing this. So
Right.
you're not wrong.
They're
Something's
they're
gonna
gonna they're
happen.
gonna come to blows. They're gonna come to blows. It's gonna happen. And like I said on the last episode, now Roman and CM Punk have a very, very common enemy in Rollins. So CM Punk and Sami Zayn, we've seen them team up already inside the cage at War Games for helping Roman, right? That's this goes back. There were previous connections that were made here. So I Tribal Chief gets involved very soon.
They done pissed off the tribal chief.
That's a mistake.
I wouldn't do it. 'Cause that
Me
man
either.
would spear me and ooh-wah me. No, thank
Yeah,
you.
well, everybody's so busy talking about the bloodline, you never know who Roman Reigns might have on speed dial. That family's pretty big. That's
No,
all I'm gonna say.
no, thank you. I like my health the way that it
Yeah,
is.
me too.
I'm not pissing off the big dog. Don't know why you're going to do that. Or the Second City Saint. I wouldn't even piss off freaking CM Punk. You done
Nope.
pissed both of them off.
Yeah,
Good,
well,
good job.
Seth is pretty good at that. He's pretty good at pissing people off historically.
It's like, Seth, yes'm, you're pissing off your tribal chief.
Yeah, well, if you looked him in the face and told him that, he'd go,
Yeah, that's great. I'm so
all he'd do,
happy that I'm
just
making.
laugh in your face
Yeah.
with the grandma couch jacket on.
I hope he enjoys his thousands upon thousands of dollar grandma jacket. I hope he
Well, I
sleeps.
guarantee you he does.
He probably sleeps with it on, like, this is so warm. Anyway, so Saturday night, not Saturday night, Lord, tonight's Saturday. Friday night SmackDown. Gonna be real, I did not watch it. I've seen a lot about releases in the WWE,
Uh,
a long, long list of releases.
Big
Dakota
names too.
Dakota Kai's gone. Not Braun Breaker. Braun
Braun Strowman.
Strowman is
Hmm.
gone.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Yep.
reinvent themselves and they're gonna be just fine.
Hayden and Katana.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Amongst others.
You know what? They're gonna be all right. They're going to get through it. They're going to reinvent themselves. We're going to see
Yeah,
them
but
as
you
some,
haven't seen the last of Strowman. I promise you.
that's one big SOB. No,
You ain't kidding.
no, we haven't seen the last of him. But all right, Chris, you want to give us a rundown on SmackDown? Because I'm sure you watched SmackDown. I suck. I did not watch it.
Well, I'd say a rundown. Just the big to do is 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 Randy Orton and Cena, and did this. It's what everybody's talking about, right? There are other things that happened on SmackDown, like there's going to be a fatal four-way match at Backlash for the U.S. title that is absolutely going to kick ass, but nobody's talking about it because it's Cena Orton.
Well, let's talk about the Fatal Four-Way match because that sounds pretty spicy.
Yeah, so uh as you know, Jacob Fatu, who I listen, you want to talk about natural talent in the blood, just born to do this. It is Jacob Fatu. Okay, that guy is. We were talking about how JD McDonagh is kind of a natural. That Fatu is a freak. He is a freak.
He is one
So
of my favorites.
obviously he is the new U.S. champion, and then LA Knight, who he won the title from at Mania, he's got his rematch clause. So there's that. The caveat in all of this is that Damian Priest wants in. And so Damian Priest kind of inserts himself into this. And when Damian Priest does something, Drew McIntyre responds. And so now the fatal four way is Jacob, LA Knight, McIntyre, and Priest. That is a knockdown, drag out, ass kicker, slobber knocker of a fatal four way match. Um,
Drew, can you just not anymore?
yeah,
Can you just
no,
can
he
you
can't
just
not.
accept it and ride off into the sunset on your gallant steed with your one eye patch wearing have an ass and
You
stop inserting yourself in things.
he can't not.
Leave leave Damian Priest alone. You beat him at WrestleMania, dude. Like, isn't that enough? I gotta watch what I'll say about Drew
You,
McIntyre because he might come after me too and give me a Claiborne in the face.
yep, it's going to be interesting. Um, you would think that the disdain and the hatred between McIntyre and Priest will almost cancel them out at some point in that match, and I'm not giving any predictions yet, but um, it at this point it's kind of hard to see the belt coming off of Jacob because he just won it.
Absolutely
Um,
not. He's got too
so
much momentum.
yeah, so but it's gonna be an ass kicker of a match. I can't wait to watch it.
I'm
Uh,
now looking forward to it because now I'm hearing that it's a fatal four way.
yeah.
Because the last I looked, Jacob Fatu had the belt, and of course, LA Knight was getting into the mix, and then Damian Priest was getting to the mix. I missed out on the Drew McIntyre hopping up into the mix. You know, I miss things a
Oh yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Mac, if Damien's involved, Drew's involved. That's what it is at this point.
Drew's,
And in fairness to McIntyre, he did beat Priest at WrestleMania. So if there's anybody that probably deserves to be in title discussions of the two at this point, in all fairness, it's McIntyre. He won the match, fair or not. But
look,
again, I think Jacob's too good right now.
Drew is. Drew right now reminds me of the two coworkers have to do the same job because they're best friends. So it's like anytime he just has some kind of animosity against somebody, he's like, "You're my best friend right now,
Yeah,
and we're gonna have a great time because I'm gonna beat you up every single week and at every PLE because I'm Drew McIntyre and I do what I want to do because you're not
pretty
gonna
much.
stop me. I'm a big, huge Scottish man with a hairy chest. Why are you gonna stop me?"
Pretty much.
Drew, look, for real though, like, haven't you beat up Damian Priest enough?
Apparently not.
Like, the dude is a big guy, okay? Like,
So,
I think you both have settled it that both of you guys are big guys and both of you guys can pack a punch. Cool. Now I need you to, like, go to the next one and leave my guy alone,
yeah.
okay? All right.
So that, and then obviously, and we didn't speak about this yet, but Aleister Black is back
I
in
saw
WWE.
that.
So that's good. That's a good acquisition. He was good before he left, in my opinion. But he's really good. He and the Miz had a really good match, actually. Um, and then there was Carmelo Hayes got involved somehow, and that ended with Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes kind of staring each other down. So that's who knows where that's going to go. And then Tiffany Stratton, apparently her next opponent is Nia Jax
I saw a little bit of that promo
again.
again.
Uh, Look, I oh boy, I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for this one. No pun intended.
Preach it.
I don't get the Tiffany Stratton thing. The more I watch her, the more I study her, not in the way you think at home. The more I study what she does in the ring and what she says, the less and less I am like, oh, that's championship material. And again, I'm not trying to shit on her. Okay, I'm really not. But I I don't get it. And maybe I'm missing the boat on it. Maybe I'm yeah, I don't that's the only way I can say I don't get it. And
So
I don't get like I know that she and Nia go back and she cashed in on Nia, which is why she's the champion to begin with. I get it. But did Nia Jax even have a match at WrestleMania? No. Like where's Nia Jax been? And now all of a sudden she's inserted into number one contendership for the title and Tiffany it was I don't know. I'm not a huge Tiffany Stratton fan. I just don't quite get it. It doesn't jive with me. I don't get the hype. I don't I don't think she's untalented. I also don't think she's a finished product. I've said that on the show before. So maybe I'm being a little unfair. And if I am, that's fine. But if you're going to put a world title on somebody, I don't care what it is. If you're going to put a world title on somebody, they better act like a world champion. And they better have that. I mean, look at the other champions in the company. Like, even I can't believe I'm going to say this. Even Dom Mysterio, at least he has an ego that nobody can freaking stand him. I get the sense that there's a lot of people that don't quite know how to feel about Tiffany Stratton. They don't know whether they should cheer for her and like her. They don't know whether they should boo her and dislike her. And when you have that in a world champion, it just I don't get it.
So we did kind of, maybe we touched on this in the last couple podcasts when we were talking about Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. colliding at WrestleMania. And it's not that we don't get the hype, because I do love Tiffany Stratton. I love her athleticism. I love that with her gymnastics background, she's moving through that ring athletically and does handle herself well in a ring. But there's always room for growth in this company and in this business and in this industry. And as a wrestler with your character, there's always room for growth. I mean, so for example, one that I'm going to use, not Braun Strowman. I'm on just a kick tonight. I don't know what it is. Maybe not too much coffee. I don't know, but we're just going to roll with it. Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was fired from WWE. He was revamping his character, came back, he was the Fiend, and he did a lot of stuff with his character. You see a lot of wrestlers that leave WWE for an extensive period of time, maybe for a little bit, and they come back with a whole character change. Maybe this Tiffany Stratton character just doesn't fit her. Maybe there's something more for her. But I get your point with the world title. Any person that has that world title should hold themselves to that level. Um, for example, drawing a blank.
I'll tell you who Tiffany Stratton reminds me of. And again, this is not a dig. Again, I want to stress, I'm not saying she's not talented. That's not it. But she reminds me of Maurice. I look at Tiffany Stratton and I see Maurice. She's pretty. She's got a rocking body. All the little boys are obsessed with her. She knows she's hot, kind of thing, okay? And they put a world title on her. Does anybody remember Maurice being world champion? No, but she was. I look at Tiffany Stratton and again, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm shitting on Maurice either. That's not what this is. It's not a shit session. But Maurice was never she was never world championship material ever. And what's not fair to her that the title got stuck on her and that's why nobody remembers that. I look at Tiffany Stratton and I see Maurice. Like that's my direct equivalent. And I think Tiffany is more talented athletically, but the vibe that you don't know how to feel. Like I've got no reason to hate Maurice, but I also don't really have much of a reason to like her either. Like I don't know what side of the fence to be on. I don't know whether to root for this person. I don't know whether to root against this person. I struggle with that. That is my direct. Like with all the others, you knew like when Lita was champion, like when she was with Edge in the rated R era. Lita got booed out the building. But that was the point. When Trish Stratus was champion, the roof came off the place everywhere Trish went. That was the point. Everybody knew how to feel. When Chyna was the champion, before that, the roof exploded off the place when she came out at WrestleMania 17. Like, you knew how to feel about Chyna. I don't know. I don't know what to feel about Tiffany Stratton. I don't know if I root for her. I don't know if I root against her. And when you're playing on the fence like that, you're going to fall. Like you're not going to stay on that. You're not going to be balanced on that fence forever. You're going to teeter. You're going to fall. And so I don't know. I don't know.
Well, maybe we'll grow to be off the fence on another side and Maybe Tiffany might surprise all of us. And
Maybe. I don't hope she does.
look, if your little sad wrestling feelings aren't hurt by Chris's comments, drop it in the comments.
I'm in. That's right.
We
But
will respond.
the big thing, and then we'll get off SmackDown because we're going for far too long on this. But Randy Orton cut a promo. John Cena was absent. Um, Orton cut a promo, and this was at the beginning of the show. Basically, just doing what I said is going to be done about John Cena. He's just bringing up the past and talking about how Cena used to value this and now he doesn't, and yada, yada, yada. He basically ended it by saying the legend killer is back. Okay. Which tells me that Orton knows that he's not going to be in for a fair fight. There's the Viper Randy Orton, and then there's the legend killer Randy Orton. For the younger generation that doesn't understand, allow me to explain it to you.
There are two separate Randy Ortons here. Please elaborate.
100%. The Viper, Apex Predator, whatever you want to call him, he plays fair. Now he's ruthless and he's aggressive and he doesn't screw around, but he doesn't cheat to win and he doesn't break the rules. Okay. The legend killer, Randy Orton, is a whole different ballgame. He will do anything to win. He'll cheat. He'll distract wherever. He'll pull turnbuckles off it. Like, it doesn't matter. He will do whatever it takes to win. And so that's his way of saying, I know I'm not going to be in for a fair fight. I know that somehow, some way, the odds are going to be stacked against me. So we're going to channel the legend killer. And we're going to do whatever it takes to beat John Cena. So it was a cool promo. Randy's awesome. Love him. But it, again, here we go again. And I don't want to go on a tangent, and I'm not going to. But we know he's not going to win. That's the bad part about Cena being champion, is that you know they're not going to take the belt off of him because his contract goes through December. And they're going to save the big moments, the aha moments, and then what I believe that there's going to be a defining moment. They're going to save that for SummerSlam and Survivor Series. They're going to save it for the big PLEs. Backlash is in St. Louis, which is where Randy Orton's from. And to me, that gives, usually you'd be like, oh, well, Randy could win the title in his hometown.
Not necessarily, no.
Nope. Because keep in mind, it's not really Cena versus Orton. It's Cena versus the audience. See, Cena could give two rats' butts about Randy Orton. It's the audience. He wants to disappoint the audience. Well, the best way to disappoint the audience is to go into Randy Orton's hometown and beat Randy Orton. So that's exactly what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be clean. Cena may hit him with the belt. I have no doubt that Cena is going to find a cheap way to win. But, you know, that's the bad part about Cena being champion, is that for at least the next 3 months, in my opinion, it's predictable. So SmackDown was good. It wasn't as good as Raw, but it was good. Yeah, that's SmackDown for you.
I'm just living with the disappointment that John Cena brings to us, and I have accepted the disappointment that he continues to kill our hopes and dreams. Thank you, John Cena.
For now.
Still, you did not raise me, so
For now. I will die on the hill that at some point There's going to be a major, major face turn. God himself would have to come out of the sky and look me in the face and tell me that Cena is going to retire as a heel for me to believe it. I will die on the hill that at some point The Rock is going to see weakness in John Cena and he's going to step in and he's going to piss John Cena off and he's going to make him realize what everybody else is trying to make him realize now is that, dude, you're a puppet. You're a shell of what you once were. You're making a fool of yourself. Your whole career is a mockery. You're making a mockery of your entire career because of the crap you're doing right now. And it's going to take The Rock to have this thing happen.
Well, I need Maui to come on now.
The Tooth Fairy.
Yep, I need Maui, the Tooth
What is
Fairy.
what did Seth call him? Diarrhea Dwayne.
I need it to just come on. So, that's my soapbox on that. I have nothing more to say about this whole John Cena thing. I've accepted that he's going to continue to come out and tell us how much we pissed him off 25
Yes.
years and that, we're the problem and not him and he's going to be mean to little kids in the crowd and we're going to all want to vomit because, now we're with a part-time Hulk Hogan champion again and but what do I know?
Not
Anyway,
much, huh?
not much. Didn't choose to do a podcast because I don't not know wrestling, but
Yeah, there you go.
whatever. I just work here. So anyway, and onward we go to the last segment, I would assume, where we are in this. Another exciting episode of Rushmore. We are in it. This one I think is pretty fun. I watched a couple videos, went back into my head and pulled out some good ones. So drop in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're cozy in those chairs. Also, do not throw them at anybody. Disclaimer. I'm not responsible for any damage to property or individuals for this podcast. So, onward. Favorite finishers. Very broad list. Very
Good
straightforward
one.
to it,
It's a
but
good
a
one.
good one. I think Chrissy comes up with a lot of good things sometimes. So I chose the Walls of Jericho, which,
Hey, there you go.
if you have ever been put into the Walls of Jericho by your
Oh
sibling,
yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
hurts a lot. And that's probably why I have lower back problems. Chris Jericho would put this on somebody, lock it in. They'd be crying in pain and misery, and then they'd tap out. Chris Jericho would win. Um, AJ Lee's Black Widow. I did go back and watch some of old AJ Lee's matches.
That's a good pull there. Nice.
The way she did
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
ow, is all I have to say. Ow. Again, another tiny little woman, which, by the way, if you've never watched an AJ Lee match, you should go watch
It
it.
was pretty great.
Her book is also really good. I did listen to her book as well. Just a little snippet of AJ Lee's life. You should go listen to that. And then, of course, the Stone Cold Stunner. If you've never had a stunner on you, look, I grew up with an older brother, everybody, okay? I was the dummy for a lot of wrestling moves. When they said do not try this at home, my brother and I thought it'd be a great idea to try it at home. Absolutely. Let me put a sock on my hand and shove it down my little sister's throat and put her in
There
a
you
Walls of
go.
Jericho and let me put a God, I can't remember the name of it. It was a I think Iron Sheik did the move. I think it was
Oh, yeah,
like
the
a across the face.
yeah, the uh
I I used
camel clutch thing.
I used to do the camel clutch.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can muster. So, look, if your sibling never beat you up as a kid and used these moves, then you don't know what we're talking about. And an RKO. Shout out to Randy Keith Orton. This move is especially fun to watch because you can just sense that it's coming, or you can't sense it at all. And he just comes up on you and then takes you out. It's usually a great watch. So those are my sets.
Finishers.
Good luck.
I I would have to start, and here I go with my fandom again. I would have to start with the Sweet Chin music. That's another one that, yes, there was the whole build up in the corner, right? But there were also times that he could hit that out of nowhere, right? Greatest super kick of all time. It that is the super kick of all super kicks. Sean is Sean. The RKO is on my list because it's just like it's the most basic of moves, but it is so perfect for Randy Orton's character. And yeah, I'd go there. Oh, I would go uh, the last ride.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one.
The Undertaker's modified power bomb, where he picks him up and does this, and that was devastating. That was, yeah, the last ride. And a fourth. Man, I'm just going on a whim here. It would be a tie. 4A and 4B. The 619, because it's so freaking cool. And not Dominic's 619.
Ray's
It
619.
ain't the same.
No, it's not.
That, or, and I think I'd lean toward this one. I gotta shout out the whole damn show. Rob Van
Oh,
Dam.
yes.
The 5-star frog splash.
Oh, that one's
Dude, that is a finisher. Like, obviously, shout out Eddie Guerrero, the frog splash. That's, I would say that that's Eddie's move, okay? But this one that Van Dam did, unlike anything I've ever seen. I love Rob Van Dam. Yeah, that would be. I'd go the 5-star frog splash. There are so many, man. Like, remember John Morrison,
yes.
Starship Pain, that thing that he did in the corner where he would like do multiple flips and like that one was great. Like, God, finishers, I just go like the shooting star press, Billy
Mm-hmm.
Kidman,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Rikishi's stink face is
Goldberg,
usually good.
yeah, Goldberg's jackhammer or
Oh,
spear
yeah.
jackhammer combo, the pedigree. I mean, I could go for days, but yeah, that would be my four. We are not ending on this. I have a thing that I wanna that I want to see what your responses are. So you talked about Chris Van Vliet earlier.
Mm.
Shout out CVV, he's the GOAT. But he posted a thing on Facebook a couple days ago that I saved in my phone. Okay. It's called 7 Wrestlers Theory. 7 different categories, very quick answers. You don't have to give an explanation. The one superstar that made you fall in love with wrestling.
Oh my God.
If you had to put it on one, and see, this is where it gets difficult because obviously there's multiple, and there's going to be multiple for all of these. The hard part is narrowing it down to one. The one that made you fall in love with wrestling. would be whom?
Ah, that is a hard one. I mean, as a kid growing up and as a girl growing up, I was always made fun of for liking wrestling.
Hmm.
And I was a tomboy growing up, right? So I always leaned towards more of the dominant female wrestlers
Mm.
because as a girl, I liked seeing women dominate wrestling, right?
Sure.
And it made me want to, as a kid, grow up and be a wrestler. If I had to narrow it down to one wrestler who made me fall in love with wrestling, this is a hard one. It'd have to be Lita.
Lita.
It would
Yeah.
have to be Lita.
She's so good.
Not only did she do WWE, but she also did the underground luchador as well.
Mhm.
The woman came in from a broken neck, won a world title, wrestled nonstop, was always amazing in the ring. I met her twice in my life. I met her at 9 years old, just the sweetest person you could ever meet.
She really is.
And met her again. I have her autograph. I have a picture with her. She's a beautiful woman, just inside and out. She is the reason I stayed a tomboy for as long as I did. She made it look cool to be a tomboy.
You and so many others, dude.
She is why I fell in love with wrestling. Now, there are many others, right? That on the men's side, if I had to choose a male wrestler that made me fall in love with wrestling, it'd be Sting. He was always my favorite wrestler.
Oh,
He was always my favorite
love
wrestler.
him.
I had a Sting wrestling buddy. I had the white face Sting and the red face
And
Sting.
the Wolf Pack. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
slept with those wrestling buddies.
I love Stinger.
Those wrestling buddies went everywhere with me as a kid.
Mr. WCW.
They went to the grocery store with me. But oh, Lita's the
Lita.
reason that I love wrestling.
That's a
She
good one.
made it exciting and she made it fun to be a tomboy and to like wrestling and to want to
She,
watch
she
wrestling.
was so fun to watch.
Unapologetically, she made it okay to want to wa want to watch wrestling and to continue to watch wrestling. That's my
The rivalry between her and Trish is just
oh man.
my God. It was so great. Um, this if you've watched the podcast before, this needs no explanation from me. Shawn Michaels. Um, I started watching wrestling in '94. He was the champion. He was the first world champion that I ever saw in wrestling. And everybody that's watched this before, and especially you, know how I feel about him. Um, I can't talk about him too much because I'm going to cry because I love him. But again, met him, talked with him for like 20 minutes, like had a 20-minute conversation with him. The nicest, most down to earth, actually took the time to ask about why I started watching wrestling and talked about some of his moments. I like it just and did not have to do that. And went through all the personal stuff, the drugs and the drinking and almost losing his family and almost losing his life. And like there's so much to Shawn that if you don't know, you got to go research. But Shawn was the one that made me fall in love with wrestling. Number two, your newest favorite wrestler.
My newest favorite wrestler.
Newest favorite wrestler.
I feel like this would go hand in hand with what made me want to watch wrestling again. Um, Newest favorite wrestler. Hmm. There's so many of them now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
A few years ago, I stopped watching wrestling because it was so bland.
It was.
Becky Lynch is that reason I got
Mhm.
back into wrestling.
Yeah.
She started back with the man promo, and that's what made me fall back in love with wrestling because she was unapologetically herself. She carried herself head held high,
Yeah.
walk into that building and own the place.
Super confident.
And as a woman in my mid 20s trying to figure out my life and getting back into wrestling and watching Becky Lynch, she is one of the reasons that I know it sounds so stupid to say it, but you know what? Whatever. I don't care. I'm
Doesn't.
unapologetically a wrestling lover. She is the reason I do my very best to hold my head high and walk into a building with confidence because of Becky Lynch. And she's why I got back into wrestling. Now, Rhea Ripley is another one that I love.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
She's um, she's got me on the bandwagon of wanting to work out, which I haven't worked out, okay? Like I do and I don't, all right? It's fine. But Rhea was my screensaver on my phone for the longest time. Right now it's CM Punk. I do love my husband though, okay? He still has me on his phone screen, so it's fine. But I love Rhea. I love how she is so decimate in the ring.
How about the
Sh-
complete character evolution?
hmm She goes
Like,
from long blonde hair, pretty girl with no tattoos to
Mhm.
black hair, piercings,
Hell with that.
tattoos, just will straight kick you in the
Gee.
face with not an explanation. That's another one. So it'd be Becky Lynch and I would say Rhea. This is a hard one.
I am with you in the fact that I'm torn between two, and it's two of the obvious ones. Um, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Uh, I love how badass Roman is and how it just, you want to talk about uber confident and just knows he's good. And I love characters like that. Like Sean. Sean used to be like that. Sean knew how good he was, and he knew that, like, he knew he was better than everybody else. Triple H knew that he was better than ever. I love characters like that. Roman is that, and Seth, he's so well rounded. I'm partial to those kinds of guys. Sean, Triple H, like the Undertaker, like there's nothing, Chris Jericho, there's nothing that they can't do. Kurt Angle was that way. Like anything you wanted them to do, they could do. So Roman and Seth, this is it may start to get a little sappy here. I hope you got Kleenex by you.
Uh,
Um,
Damn, and I cried at everything, so I'm all out of Kleenex. So bring it
number three,
on.
number three, the one that always makes you smile.
God, the one that always makes me smile. Past, present, or future. Can be any one of those. Hmm. Eddie Guerrero, man.
Mm,
I think of Eddie as the lion cheating, stealing to get what he wants, and it's sad that he is not on this planet anymore in
yes, it
wrestling.
is.
As a kid, when growing up watching wrestling, whenever Eddie came on and you heard Viva La Raza
Oh,
playing
yeah. Look.
and he came out in his
Oh,
lowrider, you knew it was
what?
going to be a great time. Anytime he came out with China in a promo, anytime he just came out to do a promo, you knew it was going to be a fun time. Um, as a kid, I was highly, and I talked about this a couple episodes ago, highly devastated when Eddie died. And there's been many wrestlers that I've been highly devastated when they died. But
None. Yeah,
Eddie, that killed my tiny little heart. I ugly sobbed for days.
that was tough.
Not to be dramatic, and I know people are going to watch this who aren't wrestling fans and they won't understand it, but
No, but you don't get if you're not a wrestling fan, you don't get it.
let me riddle you this, people. If you're a movie person and you're a comedy person, how did you feel when Robin Williams died?
Right, exactly.
I
Exactly.
can tell you the exact moment of the day where I was when Eddie Guerrero died, when Robin Williams died. Those two dying killed my heart. I was at
Well,
work when Robin died, bawled my eyes out, like ugly sobbed for days. Could not watch Mrs. Doubtfire for
yeah,
months. Same
yeah.
thing with Eddie. I could not watch an Eddie match for a
Well,
long time.
it's still hard for me to watch an Eddie match.
I,
It really is.
he is one that makes me smile from childhood perspective and as an adult. Daniel Bryan.
That's a good
Daniel
one.
Bryan. When I got back into wrestling, this was right before I got out of wrestling, when Daniel won the title and the Yes movement was high. He was the small underdog man who went in, wrestled two matches in one night,
Mhm. Yep.
won a championship belt, was always put under, could always make me laugh, but could always make me cry because he was just that, like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking about the match is
Oh, dude, let me tell
he
you something.
is a badass little man who
It
gets the
was an
job done.
it was an absolute honor to be there and watch that happen. Like I cannot tell you. I can't even begin to explain having been there and seeing that for myself live, that moment, like that's an all-timer, dude. Like that's a good one. I'm a huge Daniel Bryan fan. Like that's another one that can do anything.
I
You know,
appreciate the underdog,
you know who he was trained by?
Shawn Michaels. I read an article about that
Man.
yesterday. Man,
So the wrestler that always makes me smile, this is the one for me that's the easiest. It's the Undertaker. And I know that sounds weird because it's the Undertaker. It did not matter which version of the Undertaker it was, but I would lean heavily toward the Phenom, the one that we all know the Undertaker to be. Let me tell you something. When that gong hit, oh shit, here we go. Like I can't even think about it without it's the like
or Teddy Long saying, "You have a match tonight with the
tonight,
Undertaker."
tonight you will go one on one
With the
with
other.
the Undertaker. That's fucking great, man. I love Teddy Long.
Look,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
it's Taker, man. Like there's so many moments, so many matches, the entrance, the moves, the loyalty, all of it. It Taker. I can't not think about Taker, and that dude was everything, man. Anyway, number 4, your comfort wrestler.
Golly, these are hard. Chris Van Vliet, thank you so much for these hard questions.
Yep.
My comfort wrestler. Hmm. Jey Uso. I could be having the worst Monday of my life, but I come home knowing that I'm gonna turn on Monday Night Raw and Jay's gonna come on and Jay's gonna do his thing. And it's gonna make me laugh. It's gonna make me smile. It's gonna make me feel good. Jay would definitely be one that would put that is a comfort wrestler. But I mean, also Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch. There's multiples that are comfort wrestlers, but there's just something about Jey Uso that just makes me feel just like everything's fine with the world because Jay's on TV.
For a long time, and this is the reason I'm going to say this. It's going to be a little weird because of what's currently going on. It's a little bit of a weird answer, but for a very, very long time, I felt the same way about John Cena. And this is back when see they were all the shows were separate. There were two separate rosters, right? So Cena was only on Mondays. Monday was my favorite day of the week, dude, because Cena was an idol of mine. Is an idol of mine because what he's doing right now is playing a character on TV. Okay, is an idol of mine. I can recite, and I can do this with a lot of guys, but I've never missed a Cena match. I've never missed a Cena match. So if people want to dissect a guy's career, I can dissect John Cena's career from day one till today, and I will not miss a beat because I never missed a Cena match. I made it a point to never miss because you just knew when he made that turn and he beat JBL at WrestleMania and won the WWE title, and then he got drafted onto Raw and the spinner belt. You just knew that, dude, this guy's gonna be big. Had no idea that he'd be a 17-time world champion. But yeah, for a long time, mine was Cena. So that's the one I'll go with.
Okay.
This is where it might get a little iffy. Number 5, the one you miss the most.
Oh God. So we talking like dead gone or no longer with the company gone?
Either or.
Either or. Man, this is a hard one.
I'm glad it is for you because my answer is gonna really piss some people off.
Honestly, I really do miss God. Damn it, these are hard.
They are.
I'm gonna have to say Eddie. I
Yeah.
I miss watching Eddie Guerrero. I feel like we were all kind of robbed of the what ifs for Eddie's career and where he would be in his career. And I grew up going to wrestling events, and the idea that I will never have Eddie Guerrero's autograph on my motorcycle jacket sucks. Like, actually, genuinely sucks. I got to see Rey Mysterio once wrestle, and that was a couple years ago at the at SmackDown in the Cajun Dome. And the thought that I will never see that man in the ring with how good of a wrestler he was because he turned his life around and then he passed away kind of sucks. Don't mean to get sentimental and mushy here, but kind of sucks.
You ready for me to piss people off?
Please.
Chris Benoit.
Oh God. Yeah.
And we're not going to get into it.
Nope.
And that is for a later date. And yes, people, we will discuss it on this show. Christina and I have been engaged in conversation about what we're going to do and how we're going to approach it. I'm not going to get into it. But you cannot tell me. You can't, as I'm not defending him. I'm not talking about the person. I am talking about the wrestler. You cannot tell me that you do not miss watching Chris Benoit perform.
Oh God. I watched a match of his, I think yesterday or a couple weeks ago, and I was like, damn. Just
The
the
the the passion, the intensity, the love for what he was doing. It radiated off of him. You could feel it that he absolutely loved what he was doing. I miss watching him in the ring, man. I will never, ever, ever, ever defend what he did, ever. But as a wrestler, as a performer, what I would give to have seen Benoit in like 2010 or 2011 competing like against
oh,
Orton in his prime. And, oh my God. Can you imagine Chris? Here we go. Can you imagine Chris Benoit versus Daniel Bryan? Oh my God. Oh my God. You can feel however you want to feel about the guy. Fine. That's neither here nor there. And actually, all the dirty comments that we might receive, I'm probably going to agree with all of them. But watching the man wrestle, oh my God. I, I, I miss watching him the most. I really do. And I know that's unpopular. I really don't give a crap. I really don't because that's how I feel.
yeah. I was going to mention Chris Benoit as one that I do miss seeing in the wrestling ring because of his technical ability. And it does suck. Like it really does suck. But I mean, again, it's one of those things that we are not going to get into tonight.
No, not tonight.
No.
No, further later episode.
Later episode. Continue on.
Number 6, the one you're rooting for the most.
Oh, who am I rooting for the most these days? Hmm. Gunther. I root for Gunther. To go from Walter to the
Yeah,
ring general,
yeah,
throwing his weight around the way that he does in the
that's
ring
that's pretty impressive,
and
man.
being so dominant, I root for Gunther. And I mean, people may not like Gunther. I think he's a great
Love him.
heel.
I
Um,
love him.
I hope that changes his mind of wanting to choke me out. I do appreciate him and where he's come into the business and into his own and into his character and going from, again, Walter to Gunther and becoming the ring general and holding a belt as long as he did. Phenomenal. I root for him,
Absolutely.
but not against Pat McAfee. Anyway,
The one that I'm rooting for the most, I think is pretty obvious. It, it can't not be Cody Rhodes.
I was going to say
I
Cody.
mean, I how can you not? As a kid that was fully aware. See, I got into wrestling at a very unique time because WCW was beating WWE, WWF at the time. And one of the lead mules pulling that WCW wagon was Dusty Rhodes. And I was fully aware of who Dusty Rhodes was, what his impact on the business was. Like, everybody knows the American dream, Mac and Dream. Okay. Everybody knows it. To see what Cody was, I mean, this cat was Stardust. Like, this dude was that guy? Really? It's impossible to not root for him. It's impossible. Like, it's Cody. At this point, it's Cody.
Not a bad one.
Last one. The one that you'd protect with your whole life. If you don't say who I think you're going to say, you're going to disappoint me.
Rhea Bloody Ripley.
No.
Rhea would go to war for me, and I think I'd go to war for her. Or I'd protect Jey Uso. I'd go into war for him, Pat McAfee, Becky Lynch, Lita.
Oh, that's
Damn.
not who I thought you were going to say.
CM Punk. I,
Yes. That's who I thought you were going to
all right,
say.
well, we're gonna discount all of that because maybe I was just playing a game, but
That's the one I thought you were going to say.
CM Punk, I
The
would
friggin' sign behind you.
look. I hope to meet this man one day.
He is the coolest guy. I've told you the story about him walking into Reds with the freaking WWE title over his shoulder. Dude is so cool and down to earth, unbelievably nice human being. Like,
I
he could have brushed me off and said, "Kid,
like I ain't got
fuck
time
off."
for you. Yeah.
And I was 12, dude. Like, I was a kid. And he was like, "Man, I appreciate you coming up. I don't have much time because I got to get to my workout, but I appreciate you coming up to me and talk to me for 2 minutes." But
Right.
for him, man, he was super nice guy.
I
Super nice guy.
I would protect CM Punk with my life for sure, for sure. Because I
That's who
think,
I thought you were going to say off the bat.
look, again, back to my childhood and growing up, I had particular wrestlers that I really liked, and I had wrestlers that, you know, I looked up to and I wanted to be like, and I wanted to not do stupid things, I guess. As a kid, you go to your dare classes. CM Punk
Right.
was the reason that I, at young age, before life kicked me in the ass, and then I tried alcohol, you know, he was the reason that I did not want to drink. I did not want to do drugs. I don't smoke at all.
Right there
I
with you.
lived with parents who smoked so much that
Right there with you.
the smell of it is horrible.
Agreed.
I never I never grew up with a drunk parent ever. And that is a blessing to say when I know a lot of people did. CM Punk's the reason that I did not want to do drugs, drinking, alcohol, the whole nine. I it's just something
Good. He's a good
about
man.
the man. Like I want to be a good person like he is. And I would definitely go into battle for CM Punk. If he ever needs any kind of muscle, I got him. I may have just two tattoos, but got you, big dog.
Why don't you tell me who I'm going to say?
Shawn Michaels.
They tell you They tell you that you should never meet your idols because you'll be disappointed. I am proof positive that that is nonsense. I will defend him. I will take anyone on. He doesn't have to be the GOAT. In most people's opinions, he's not. But I am telling you, there has never been a better in ring performer in the history of wrestling. Yes, I said it. The history of wrestling than Shawn Michaels. I will defend that until I can defend it no more. He was every bit as graceful, gracious, and just just real. Just very down to earth, and I am proof positive that that saying is not true. Me, if you ever have the chance, and you might next year, we've talked about that a little bit, okay? Because Mania's coming to New Orleans next year.
I'll get my
Uh,
kidney ready.
if you ever have the chance to meet CM Punk or any of your idols, and look, forget wrestling. To anybody at home, you ever have the chance to meet your idol, do it. Like, yes, I guess there are certain ones that may disappoint you, but I'm telling you, my interaction with Shawn, and look, I've interacted with John Cena. I've interacted with CM Punk. I've interacted with Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio. I've met a lot of those guys. They were all very, very nice and very down to earth, just normal, regular human beings. But Shawn, I was the last person in line at Access. This is 12, almost 12 years ago at WrestleMania 30. I was the last person in line at Access. And I walked up to him with, I had to have had 4 or 5 things in my hand for him to sign. And I just told him, I said, look, Shawn, I cannot, I cannot tell you how much, like I could recite your career. Like you were my all-time favorite. You're the reason I got into wrestling. And I mean, and you know, he's heard that 1,000 times. I'm not special. He wouldn't know me from a hole in the ground. And I'll never forget, he signed all my stuff because he's also my cousin Tyler, who's like more like a brother to me. He's Shawn's his favorite too. I'll never forget this. He signed all my stuff and he looks behind me like this, and there's nobody else in line. He said, come. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. What? That's what I'm thinking in my head. I literally sat down with him and we just shot the shit for 15 minutes. It was the greatest 15 minutes of my life.
Wow.
It was unreal. And you know, he had signed hundreds of autographs and was ready to leave. Like they're human beings. They all get to a point where, okay, it's time to go. I'm ready to go. He could have up and left. He could have just said, oh, kid, I hear that all the time. Thanks. Da, 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 and been done. He didn't. And like I said, I'm not special, but he made me feel like $1 million freaking, dude. The the nicest guy I have ever met in my life. I just, yeah, I would defend him with everything, and I do. So drop it as she says. You got a problem with Shawn Michaels?
You have a problem with us.
Drop the comment. And if you got a problem with Shawn Michaels, I got 2 words for you.
And also, if you have a problem with CM Punk, I want you to drop it in the comments because I would defend that man with my life. The man
And
left the business not because he honestly had a choice. He chose to leave because of how the business was being ran. That's why he left.
I
I
think the biggest thing
respect.
about CM Punk, that pipe bomb promo,
Mhm.
we look back on it now, he was right.
I
Like,
respect
like,
him
like he
because
predicted the
he
future.
I respect him so much because he tells it like it is. And I think
Hmm.
a lot of us in this world need to tell it like it is.
Agreed.
So, the day I meet that man, I'm gonna have to have a box of tissues with me because he got me through a lot in middle school. Middle school is not an easy time as a kid. And CM Punk got me through a lot as a kid. I'm sure he hears it all the time.
Yeah. Well, but still, look, they don't get tired of hearing it.
No. I told Lita I met you when I was 9 years old. I am, at the time, I think I was in my mid 20s the last time I saw her. I said, I have your autograph on this jacket. And this was my dad's jacket. My dad raised me a wrestling fan. You're the reason I got into wrestling. She took the time to talk to me,
Yeah.
shook my hand, said, thank you so much. She's like, you still have this? Wow, this is so awesome. I remember her looking at it and just the joy that she had on her face looking at this jacket with all these wrestlers' names. I met Edge when I was 9 years old. I was starstruck with Edge. I met Batista, I met Lita, I met Matt Hardy, I met RVD, just the nicest people you could ever meet. And like Chris
Helen.
says, they don't have to come to you
No,
after a match,
no,
even
they
after
don't.
traveling as much as they travel. They're ready to go home to their families or they're ready to go to the hotel to get to the next city. They don't have time for all of that. But those special ones that take that time to meet with you and let you know that they hear you and they see you and they are so gracious that you're a fan and they understand that the reason they're here is because of us and they're here to provide us entertainment, but I don't know how to
They're
explain it.
more they're more than wrestlers to us.
They're our
And
idols.
and I don't I know we have to wrap it up, but we're talking about people that do stuff outside of wrestling. We would be totally and fully insulting if we did not mention John Cena. There is no one, and I mean no one, that has done more outside of wrestling voluntarily than that guy. 650 Make-A-Wish kids. Like, he doesn't have to do that. He chooses to do that. That is above and beyond a great human being. Like, it's stuff like that. That's it's just so solid, man. It's so solid, and it's the want. They want to do that. Like Lita, you're like she wanted to talk to you. Sean wanted to talk, but like what that does for us is like I you can't even quantify it. So anyway, that was Chris Van Vliet's little post. I thought that would be cool. So anyway,
Well, that does us here for Chair to Face Wrestling Podcast. Your hosts, Chris and Chrissy. Do not forget to like and subscribe and share. You got comments, drop them in the comments, as I always say. Also, we are not responsible for any damage done to chairs or faces. Join us next time. Y'all have a great evening.